For this video, I'm not using a photo that I have worked with. No, I'm not using the photo that I have clicked. I'll be using signatureedits.com to download a photo that is completely random. I have not seen this ever before. I'm doing this because I don't want to go into the process having some ideas in mind or having a thought process. I just want to go in blank and see what I can do, and then tell you whatever I do, I'll let you know why I'm doing certain things so that you have a clear picture of what is going on. And in this video, I'll be using Photoshop using the camera raw filter. You can use Adobe Lightroom or you can use Lightroom mobile. You can follow the exact same steps. Nothing changes everywhere. The steps are the exact same. So you don't have to worry if you have a mobile phone or you're editing on a PC. So here I am on the Signature Edits website, and I want to click or select a picture that most of the people might post, something very general. I don't want a professional picture because I'm pretty sure you are not here to learn if you are a professional photographer. You are here if you want to edit your Instagram videos or photos. So I think this one is really good. So I'll be downloading this. Let me also see if I can find something else. This can be a good learning opportunity, but I'm not very sure if it is focused well. Let me see for some human elements because that's better. I want to find a picture that has a lot of disturbance, that has a few things that we don't want in the frame and all those things. But I can't really find something. This one is a good photo. This can make a really good edit. Maybe this one. Uh, this is really difficult because I have to think about a lot of things before actually selecting a picture. This looks very plain and blank, so maybe we can do something with this. I'll see how long it takes to edit one image. Maybe we'll do multiple parts of this video if this one does well, of course. Otherwise, we'll see. So here are the three images that I just downloaded. This is the first one, this is the second one, and this is third one. Let me start with this one. I'll be opening this with Photoshop. This is how it will open for you if you are using mobile or if you are using Adobe Lightroom. So we have the same exact options. So the first thing or the most important thing or the first step in my editing process is to reduce the highlights to 0 and increase the shadows all the way to 100. I do this just to see how much details are there in the photos, how much, what am I working with. So here I thought in this photo I might find some clouds, but as you can see here, it's very minimal. We don't have really good clouds. Maybe we can add it using Photoshop, but this is a Lightroom tutorial, so I will not be doing that. So now I like to switch these toggles on. On mobile, I think you have to press and then slide the sliders, and the same thing will happen. I'm not very sure. But if you're using PC, you can toggle this on. This will show you the extreme ends. So as you can see here, if I reduce the exposure, you can see the blue dots here, the blue things. This means that the blacks are so high that it is losing all its details, and we don't want that. So similarly, the red dots here, so the red area shows that the whites are so high that we are losing details, and we don't want that. So let me reset the exposure. So tint, as you can see here, the image is a bit on the warmer side. If that is something you're going for, if you want it to be a little warm, or the warmer tones is something you're going for, it is fine. But I want to make it neutral, so I'm bringing the temperature down so that it looks like it's very good lighting. It's okay. So it's not warm anymore. I think 7 is a really good place to be in. So I'll also reduce the tint. I don't want so much green. So I'll go to +3 maybe. I'm just seeing how, yes, +5 seems right for me as of now. Let me increase the contrast. I always do this, maybe 10 or 15. I don't know. It just adds that pop, and I like the way it looks. Um, Highlights, maybe I just keep it low because the photo is bright enough that reducing highlights all the way is not doing so anything significant. So I'll have highlights at -100. Shadows also I'll have very high because the photo is very dark. So I want to increase the blacks, but we are starting to lose details. But as you can see, we are losing details in places where it's not that important. So we are starting to lose details in her hair and stuff. We don't want this. So -5 or -7 is fine. This is something I'm happy with. And let's increase the whites to around 16. All right. The main way I look at it here is that the photo should look natural. It should look like a normal day, normal lighting, like how it would look to a human eye. Once it is in that stage, you can stop playing with the basic sliders. And here you can see the before and after. It was dark, it was warm, and it was good in its own way, but now it looks really good. It looks normal. It looks like it's professionally lit. So now let's toggle these off. We don't want the extents anymore. And it's time to go into the curves. So curves, you can either do your color grading here, right here in curves. As you can see, there is red, green, and blue. So if you increase the reds, it becomes red. If you decrease, it becomes green. And the where we move that, and the upper part of the curve, it controls the highlights, and the bottom part controls the shadows. Doing color grading with curves is easy as well as a little difficult. What I'm trying to say is that it's actually easy once you understand it, but understanding it right now is a little difficult if you're just getting into editing, or if you're just starting to look into these things. This is not the right time. I would highly prefer you go into this color grading menu and do the color grading yourself. So let's go into curves and open this white curve. So once you have the white one open, the normal curve, here what I'm doing is reducing the shadows. Here, what if you lift the bottom part of the curve, it controls the shadows. So I'm reducing this so that there is details in the darker areas. Wherever there is dark or areas where you are losing details, it gives you a little details, and it makes the image overall a little brighter. But you don't want the same thing to the entire image. You only want to edit the darkest part. So what you do is click another point here and bring down the other parts of the image. This means the darkest parts are increased a little, that are made light a little, but you have also decreased this for the rest of the image. So this gives you a good transition when it comes to the curves, and thus you have a really compiling look. So we do the same with the highlights as well. You reduce the harsh highlights and then make the rest of the images okay. This is popularly known as the S curve, and I could have directly told you that you do the S curve, but you have to understand what we are doing, and that's the point of the whole video. You have to understand the process so that you can do it better or you can improvise later. So the slight S curve is a very popular style of editing. This reduces the highlight areas a little. This also reduces the shadow areas a little, which gives a good dynamic range to your image. Dynamic range is also something you have to know when you are getting into editing, because dynamic range means the amount of colors or the spectrum of colors in your image. And whatever editing you're trying to do, you're trying to increase the dynamic range and to see more than what the human eye could naturally see. That is what makes an edit really good, or that is what makes an edit compelling to the eyes, or people be like, wow, how did you do that? That expression is brought when the dynamic range of the photo is really good. This starts with when you're clicking the photo, make sure you're clicking a lot of details. And also when you're editing, make sure that you're not making it very dark or very light. Keep the spectrum as it is. So once you're done with the curve, next thing is to work with the details and sharpening. We love it. And here what I'm doing is pressing Control or Alt, I guess. Yeah, Alt. When you press Alt, it shows you the area which is affected by sharpening. So here I am increasing the sharpening to 100, which means the sharpness is very high. This is very harsh on the photo. As you can see, the sharpening is very harsh. So, but when you click Alt and increase the mask, you can see this actually means only the white parts. I can't remove my hand from the mouse, but as you can see, this means that the white parts is affected. Only the white parts is are getting the sharpening effect. So which means the edges are sharp. And that is what we are going for. We want the edges to be sharp and crisp, but we don't want sharpening on the entire photo. You can see the before and after nicely. The edges have got a little bit of sharpening. We can increase the sharpening a little. So the photo looks like it's more HD, it's in 4K or something. And we did not see what the curves did. So you can see here, if you toggle on and off, the curves has reduced the harshness of the image that we got in the basic adjustment. When we did the basic adjustment, what we did is we just boosted everything up, we made it bright, but curves actually balanced it, and now it looks okay. It does not pop that much. So this is a really good detail. So we have increased the sharpening. Noise reduction in this photo, we don't really need noise reduction. The photo quality is really good. I can see a bit of grain here. So maybe I'll add a slight amount. All right, it works. It looks better now. So yeah, if your photo has a lot of grains, you can add noise reduction. But I feel like noise reduction usually gives you that oil paint kind of look. I'm not a fan of. So try clicking better quality pictures that does not have grain in it. So you don't have to do this step. And also, now we are going into the color mixer. I avoid color mixer if you are targeting something. If imagine you don't want the green parts of the image to look green, you can come into the color mixer, select the greens and just change the color. As you can see here, it can completely remove it. You can also play with saturation and remove it completely. This is a really good tool if you know how to use it. I used to like it, but nowadays I don't really use it that much for some reason. Let's go into color grading. This is where the magic happens. This is the bread and butter, or this is what actually sets you apart. There are different ways of color grading your images and different styles that you can go by, and you can try different things and see whichever works for you. You can be happy with anything, but there are also some fundamental principles that you don't want to miss. Because, for example, imagine you want to color grade this blue, and I'm color grading this blue, making this blue, and I just got this. And immediately, as you can see, immediately as soon as I change the sliders here, the photo starts looking like you just applied an Instagram filter on top of it. Maybe you like it. Maybe a bunch of you might find this impressive, or maybe this is your style and you want it like this. It's okay. But the thing is, this does not, in this picture editor, I'm not sure how to convey this, but thing is that this sort of look where everything looks flat and like a filter is thrown onto the photo makes you look cheap, and it does not make you look like a professional editor. And we don't want that to happen. We want to look like every single color on there is intentionally put in. So you don't want to play around with this like this. So let me quickly undo all of it. And now for this particular image, as I can see, this has a greenish tint to it, and there is a little less magenta. Maybe I'll go to basics and increase the magenta a little because I feel like the green tint is overtaking the image. All right, coming back to color grading. So, which color do you want in the shadows? So, as I can see, there is too much of green tint in the shadows. I want it to focus a little more on the blue sides. So this can be different for most of the images, but usually shadows blue is a good play. And you can see there is this entire quarter here. You can play around wherever you want, but I kind of like this look. At midtones, I'll keep it as it is as of now and go to the highlights. So the rule of third that I use usually is to go opposite way. If you have gone blue for the shadows, then go with orange for the highlights. Just go exact opposite way. This works well. You don't have to break your head too much. And also it's easier like this. If you are someone who is just trying to figure it out everything, it can get quite tricky, but doing it like this is way more easy. So this is something I'm happy with. And now is the tricky part, getting the midtones right, because shadows and highlights are opposite of each other and thus it is pretty easy. But midtones is your descriptive feature. Most of the editors try to just ignore midtones or not do anything with it at all because there is a high chance that you will mess it up. But I still recommend that you play around with the midtones and be very near to the center. The cursor, do not take it away from the center, it will immediately kill your image. So be very near to the center and just play around to see which look you like the most. So I feel like the opposite of green, it's getting to magenta. I feel like all right. All right. So this I'm happy with. So this is our color grading. It has that unique cinematic look, as you can see. So we are done with color grading. If you're going for an entire different approach, you can do that as well. And if you are going for the orange and peel, all those approaches, or some approaches that are very standard, you want the exact colors, I would recommend you play around with the color mixer. But if you are going for the more natural cinematic look, color grading is the way to go. So optics, we are not playing around much with this. If you want vignette, you can add it. But I feel like there is no need for it. There is already the natural camera vignette on this. So I don't want to overdo anything. So let's go to the effects. I don't want green on vignetting also. So there is nothing much we are doing. And calibration is the last step of the process. Color calibration works very differently from color mixer. If you are someone who works with color mixer, you know that if you play with this slider, it affects all the orange parts of the picture. But in calibration, if you change the orange slider, it changes all the colors of the image. So it does not only affect in one specific spectrum, but it affects all the colors. So it has a lot more impact on the end result, and even doing slight changes will have effect over the entire canvas. So you don't want to play around too much with this, but also this is a really powerful color grading tool. So for example, I want a bit more orange here. So I increase the oranges and I want to take the blues more into the aquas. So this is how you get the popular orange and teal look. I'm not going for this look right now, but I just want to show you how you can get it. The orange and teal look that was, I'm not sure if it is still popular, but it was taking over in the internet by a storm. So this as you can see, this is how you get the orange and teal look. This is as simple as that. But for this video or this particular photo, we don't want this. Let me see what works for this image right now. So as I can see, I don't want a pinkish tone here. So, and I want to remove a bit of magenta. That's why I'm going towards the orange side. And let me increase the saturation to 3 or 5. So now you can see that there is already a bunch of orange or yellow tone. So I don't want that. And that is why I'm going the opposite way, because this side is giving me more of yellow. So the opposite side is the right way to go. And increase the, and also change the hue into a bit more aqua and a bit of a desaturated look. Now you can see this calibration has affected the entire canvas, and this is the time you go back to your color grading and check if you have overdone something or you need to do more of something. So here I can see that the blues have been overtaken by the aqua tone. So I increase the blues slightly so that it is still in that moody cinematic vibe. The midtones are also being overtaken. So I'm reducing it a little. Maybe I keep it in the yellow side, but very, very little. Midtones usually make or break your images, so you have to be very careful when you work with the midtones. And also the orange look, maybe not so much. This is good. So this is what I'm happy with right now. And now is I usually go back to the curve to see if I can make this curve a little more drastic. This is up to you on like. I like it a little moody, but you can go for another completely different vibe. So that is it. There you go. This was the photo that we started with, and this is the photo we have right now. This has the blue tint. The blue tint is still a little high. I'm not very sure if I want that much blue. So if I had the permission, I would actually replace the clouds and use something else, because the entire upper portion of this photo is very black. But even without that, this is the before and this is the after. You can already see a drastic difference in the before and after. And also the best part is that it does not look like an Instagram filter thrown on top of it. This is what an actual process can do to your images. It can make it look good and also make it look a lot more professional than just throwing an Instagram filter. So that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. And if there is something else that you want me to do, please let me know. And I think I will be creating a Telegram group, and I will make sure to put that link in the comment section. I'll pin it so that if you have an image that you want me to edit, uh, if you have a specific request about something or an image that is very specific and a specific style that you want to edit in, and you want me to make a tutorial on it, you can put it in that Telegram group and I will go through it and do it so that you can learn and it will be helpful for both of us. So that's it for this video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace.